Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Nearly 2 years after the release of my feature-length documentary on the birth of Bhakti-vriksha in the Middle East, I am asked to show that this approach, originally sketched by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, may be the way forward for ISKCON's global outreach. In the next film we're working on, I'm on my way to England, where Bhakti-vriksha has already made some headways. The question is asked, is this program for Indians, or can it also work with everyone? I remain to be convinced myself, and this film will have to convince the world of ISKCON, first of all, that Bhakti-vriksha is the way forward. Prabhu, what is your perception of this new approach to outreach, the Bhakti-vriksha approach?
The Bhakti-vriksha team have been here in the manor vicinity for many, many years, and really I want to applaud the teams that have been working here. Why? Because, you know, these are individuals that have daily pressures of work, of looking after their families. But in between all of that, they are very busy in their Bhakti-vriksha programs every week to invite new people to come and participate within the actual program in itself. And they've been so successful over the years that I think they've grown phenomenally in the little groups that they have. And of course, their zeal to preach to others is a phenomenal aspect as well, which I find very useful in a temple of this size.
A 3-hour drive from London, I meet the GBC representative for the UK between 2 flights from Spain to Ireland.
It's doing very well. From the point of view of the number of groups, the amount of people participating, and some of those groups developing into centres, I think it's going very well, actually.
Bhakti-vriksha has been really an inspirational program. The way in which Bhakti-vriksha is able to attract new people to Krishna consciousness and then wonderfully integrate them with the temple and the various activities of services from book distribution to temple cooking. Bhakti-vriksha has really been an amazing contributor.
I'm driven to Reading, a suburban town west of London, halfway to Oxford, to visit a thriving Bhakti-vriksha community.
We came first time to Reading in 2011. So when I came out of the station, I was thinking, like, I don't know any soul here. Krishna, what am I going to do? There was the Namahata there for more than 20 years. They were doing book distribution regularly and every week give the class. So many have come, but they were not able to retain them. And then when they did book distribution, they gave us the contacts.
The Bhakti-vriksha program is actually very informal, and I think the informality of that program helps people to connect to it. At the same time, and the system that they have, the 64 sessions and going through each program that they have, going through different stages of our practice and devotional activity, it's very much walking the walk. It's practicing what we preach.
The care and the time that's been put into me and that example that's been set, I'm confident and excited about providing others with that same level of support and love and care.
It's living it, and the enthusiasm is there, the informality is there, and that package, I think, put all together, is a very successful package.
So many years ago, Bhakti-vriksha Thakur revived Lord Chaitanya's movement and codified a system through which people in every town and village could take up the chanting of Hare Krishna and the following of Krishna's instructions. Now ISKCON's congregational ministry has formed the Bhakti-vriksha program that can spread to every town and village. Take up this process of Bhakti-vriksha. It is the most effective and wonderful system to help people come closer to Krishna and actually live in Krishna's instructions.
Bhakti-vriksha is not only authorized, but it's also recommended by the GBC and by ISKCON law. ISKCON temples should try to annually double their congregation by training and empowering the congregation through small local Namahata Bhakti-vriksha groups. Sometimes the issue is that the local temples, because they have not invested time, sufficient energy in building the Bhakti-vriksha, they feel a little bit sidelined. And the Bhakti-vriksha leaders also sometimes hesitate to give the program to the temple administrations because it is a sophisticated machinery. It's built on a network of supervision, oversight, and someone who has not been trained in the Bhakti-vriksha dynamics may not be the best person to lead the whole project.
In 1996, a Russian devotee by the name of Angira Muni Das made history by taking the Bhakti-vriksha principle to Moscow.
So in the 1996, I made first attempt to start Bhakti-vriksha in Moscow. That time we do not have any program, we do not have modules, materials, it was just an idea. And after 1 year we multiplied this first group. And in the beginning of 2009, we get about 50 groups just from these two initial groups. Now in Moscow we have about 140 Bhakti-vriksha groups. In St. Petersburg, in Ekaterinburg, there are more than 40 Bhakti-vrikshas. In some other cities, there are 30 Bhakti-vrikshas, 20 Bhakti-vrikshas. Altogether in Russia, we have now about 500 Bhakti-vriksha groups.
I thought I'd misheard the figure. To be sure, I double-checked with another Russian pioneer. So how many groups do you have now in Russia?
Like we have more than 140 groups of Bhakti-vriksha only in Moscow, and all over the Russia about 500 groups.
This young lady is a prominent pioneer of the Bhakti-vriksha development in former Soviet Union.
Hare Krishna, I'm from Moscow. I joined devotees through Bhakti-vriksha program, and mainly I was 15 years old. I passed first original group of Angira Muni, and after 1 year and a half, maybe 2 years maximum, I asked I want to open my group. Even our original group didn't finish yet.
Many of the students who are coming to these Bhakti-vriksha programs, they're so enthusiastic that even before they finish the 64 stages, they're wanting to go out and start their own Bhakti-vriksha group.
And the same week, I have a new group in my house. Every single day I have some guests, some book distribution, I was doing something. This group also multiply, and finally, like after maybe maximum 6 years, I become chakra leader. I have under me 9 or 10 groups.
Bhakti-vriksha is my hobby. I am a professional magician in the world of entertainment and travel around the world doing shows, magic shows in Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America, South America. And in my free time, what I love the most, my passion is doing Bhakti-vriksha.
Many of these devotees move to different places or different countries and open groups also.
I've been servant of her, secretary of her, trying to help her in the Bhakti-vriksha, whatever I can do with my poor Russian.
If you know one devotee from France, his name Pierre, Premamaya Vasudev, his spiritual name now. Like 6-8 months, he was visiting group, start chanting his rounds and singing during the program. And after some time, I asked them to open new group in the apartments. From this group, we have very, very good leaders now.
But what happens then? Devotees also started to do Bhakti-vriksha, like Ukraine, Belarus, Kazakhstan, like in Germany, England, Israel, and now even in the United States.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So my journey with Bhakti-vriksha is that I literally grew up with it. You know, I would see my parents doing Bhakti-vriksha program at their home, but at the same time it felt like even I could get involved with the children, and I would conduct similar children's groups with the Bhakti-vriksha format, have discussion-oriented programs and with the children.
In 2000, I was introduced to the Bhakti-vriksha system in Bangalore. After my marriage, we actually moved to San Jose.
In San Jose, we established 8 groups there. And in 2002, we went to Houston, and we've been there since then. And we established the Bhakti-vriksha there as well.
So far, there are about 17 Bhakti-vriksha groups in Houston.
And that involves about how many people?
250 people. And then there are 4 groups which are for Westerners.
We were thinking, does Bhakti-vriksha really work in Argentina? Is it proper for this country or not? We tried with a group of devotees to start a group, but somehow or other we didn't get any results. And in 2011, coming here to Mayapur and to India, I met my good wife, Premavati Chitra. Hard work of Prema Padmini, Mataji, Vijay Venugopal, and Angira Muni Prabhu. They apply Bhakti-vriksha principles very good and start blossom like flowers everywhere.
Mi nombre es Prema Rupa Madhavadas y soy de Argentina. We are doing Bhakti-vriksha for the last 3.5 years. So we take people from Sankirtan, Harinam, Food for Life. We invite them to our house. We have some outreach programs like Harinam, Food for Life, and also we do Yoga Fest.
So what has Bhakti-vriksha done for you?
Bhakti-vriksha changed my life.
And how has it done?
Like, after my house was like Grihastha place, and that's it. And now it's like a preaching center where a lot of devotees, 3 times a week, we have.
And your house is big enough for so many devotees?
Yes, now yes. When we start, it was a little department, but now, thanks Krishna, it gives us a very big house, beautiful.
My observation is that Bhakti-vriksha can be built in 4 different ways. The first way is when the temple gives full attention, invests energy, manpower, and time to build these groups, to lead the groups. If the temple is like a house, the Bhakti-vriksha, which is compared to a tree, will be like a tree inside the house, a tree in the courtyard of the house. Another way is the Bhakti-vriksha is not built by the efforts of the temple. They may act cooperatively together. The Bhakti-vriksha members can participate in festivals or book distribution marathons and so on and so forth. But there are 2 different administrations. One example of that could be Moscow, Russia, where the Bhakti-vriksha was built not by the effort of the temples, and it became a force to reckon with. At the same time, there was a lot of cooperation. The third way, of course, the Bhakti-vriksha develops without the presence of a temple, maybe in a country of the Middle East. And so you can visualize a tree, but there are no houses around. So the tree, in that case, is the local ISKCON. And the fourth way of relation between Bhakti-vriksha and temple, at one stage of development, when there are enough devotees, enough resources, and enough desire, is the Bhakti-vriksha who establishes a temple.
Also in 2012 we had the opportunity to travel with Her Grace Mataji Prema Padmini, and we went to Brazil. Now we are very happy to announce that in Brazil we have 30 groups of Bhakti-vriksha.
And devotees moved from here to other countries from Bhakti-vriksha. In Congo, tribal people chant and dance very enthusiastically. No Indians at all in that place. This was only one family of Bhakti-vriksha leader.
Like now in Israel, they have about 60 Bhakti-vriksha groups. Rasika Shikatra, who is from Israel, from Tel Aviv. preaching in the center of Israel, and this was about 2.5 years ago when I started my Bhakti-vriksha. My groups started to go to some kirtan with me, and this is much more impressive than just distributing books on your own. Now my group have multiplied, and they started the oral Bhakti-vrikshas. And also we are working on translating the Bhakti-vriksha to Hebrew.
Since last 3 years, we are coming number 1 in book distribution of congregation. Last year, we did 5,000 books. The last year, done 10,000 books. And this year, we did 20,000 books. So, in this way, the man is very, very happy that we are helping to increase the book distribution. But on a manner, outside India, is the number 1 temporary book distribution by support of Bhakti-vriksha.
We at the Congregational Development Ministry promote different outreach programs to bring in new people, programs to cultivate them, and systems to train new devotees. So we find that the Bhakti-vriksha system, they have everything to contact new people, to take care of them, to train them, and to do the same themselves with new people once again. So it's a complete cycle. My experience so far is that when the leaders invest time and energy into Bhakti-vriksha, they have always received much more in return.
Thank you very much. My name is Vijay Venugopal Das, and my wife and I, were one of the first few to start implementing the Bhakti-vriksha system. We came to this place in 1988 basically to earn money and get back and live a comfortable life in India. But to our surprise, we got something entirely different, and the whole direction of our life changed. Initially, we started having small programs in our house. So we used to read Bhagavad Gita verse and purports, and a few people somehow came. At that time, we had maybe about 100 devotees, out of whom about 10 or 15 were very serious. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami once said that there is another way of preaching, and maybe we could do this in ISKCON also. Having programs in small groups in a friendly atmosphere with a specific structure, we had to evolve that structure. But the point of these groups was that people were coming on the basis of friendship, and then through this friendship, they would start slowly discovering Krishna consciousness. We took the first group of committed devotees, and we said, okay, each of you now start a group. And now these were devotees who had only been used to attending classes. They knew nothing else. But when we discussed how this could be done, they took to it enthusiastically.
We didn't have any structured knowledge about the philosophy, about the scriptures. We were not initiated, but we were asked to preach. We were the first members of Bhakti-vriksha program. We started in a small way in our house.
And then every few months, our spiritual master used to come over here, and then he used to discuss with us what's going on, how to correct things. And in this way, it evolved. And then there was a massive expansion after that. And very rapidly, within another 5 years, from 100, we got to about 2,000 devotees.
Krishna consciousness means not just aware of Krishna in the temple. We want to satisfy Krishna through our dealings with everyone. Because if we forget him, then we'll try to put our best behavior only when people are watching. But Krishna knows everything. So if you are aware of him, you cannot do any wrong.
So we are observing this wonderful occasion of Bhakti-vriksha completing 20 years. What a wonderful journey it's been so far. Many hundreds and thousands of devotees come in contact with Krishna conscious process by going through this wonderful program. All over the world, people who understand common language or not, and this process has helped them to transform their lives in such a short span of time. Huge impact. How do we give something back to the organization? This is an opportunity for all of us to join hands together to thank Srila Prabhupada.
As we can understand, the Bhakti-vriksha program is a very practical and beneficial way of expanding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. After 20 years, there are many tangible results that have helped Srila Prabhupada's movement, ISKCON, to grow and become more and more established in many parts of the world. The first benefit that we want to mention is that it fulfills the 7 purposes of ISKCON as stated by Srila Prabhupada. The first one refers to propagating spiritual knowledge. The modules of Bhakti-vriksha are based on the teachings that Srila Prabhupada gives in his main books, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is spiritual education, the training and encouragement that Bhakti-vriksha gives to its members, reaches also one of the main purposes that Srila Prabhupada pointed out that ISKCON is meant for, the unity of not only devotees but humanity at large. All this encompasses the main desire that was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to facilitate the chanting of the holy name. In a very practical way also, Bhakti-vriksha has helped to develop or create different holy places around the world, not only in India, not only in the main projects of ISKCON, but in the main places where Bhakti-vriksha is established as home programs. This also with the characteristics of enabling their participants to live a simple life and to promote Krishna consciousness through books, magazines, and other publications. So in this way we see how Bhakti-vriksha has helped to increase exponentially the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books.
But when Bhakti-vriksha was actually started here, the devotees started picking up books from the temple, and then we started going to different temples and distribute books, and we hit up something like 25,000, 23,000 plus in one time, and then in a small temple group, we actually are number 1 in the temple.
And also provide substantial financial support to local ISKCON temples and international projects such as TOBP and others. In this way, we see how Bhakti-vriksha becomes the main source of manpower to local and international projects.
The management started working on the training process, and they started implementing the Bhakti-vriksha process. And that way we increased the congregation from about 1,000 to 3,000.
And it overall supports the preaching and the expansion of the movement. And one great characteristic of Bhakti-vriksha is that self-sustained. Generally when temples want to open projects, initiatives, programs, it needs to provide funds, manpower, etc. But in this way, the Bhakti-vriksha program only depends on the ability, on the capacity, and the resources of grihastas. It's very adaptable and versatile and can expand anywhere and everywhere. Could be just one person who takes it up in one single apartment, or in a very busy city, or in a faraway town.
Bhakti-vriksha is very simple by nature. It's very sublime, very dynamic. I use the word simple because anybody can come, participate in this program.
So in this way, it also had allowed us to expand in places where devotees had to preach in an underground capacity, like China, Russia, and Middle East, and other places. In practical terms, Bhakti-vriksha has made nearly 25,000 devotees. This is in 20 years, and it's growing even stronger. It has the presence in 45 countries and 90 cities. And according to the reports, it's expanding more and more.
21 years, just can't believe it. How 21 years have passed in this wonderful journey of Bhakti-vriksha. I can say that how Bhakti-vriksha has had such a great impact in devotees' lives who have just come to Krishna consciousness. I can see that since I have come to Krishna consciousness before Bhakti-vriksha, I can see that how Bhakti-vriksha is playing a great role in helping the people advance systematically in Krishna consciousness. This has been a wonderful journey for us, where we have witnessed amazing things happening in different people's lives. How people are
touched. It's just not a single person taking up to Krishna consciousness. It's families which are taking up to the process. So it gives a great amount of satisfaction.
Also, utilizing the current trend of spreading information and knowledge through the social media, Bhakti-vriksha members are able to, through Skype, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, expand their activities. Practically also, it gives us a very stronghold of support in different countries, because the connections, the circle of connections that the different Bhakti-vriksha members and their relative friends, neighbors, peers can help the devotees to have a solid standing in their preaching in the different jatras, temples, etc. So now this is not something independent, it's something that Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself started over 100 years ago. He himself personally established around 500 Bhakti-vriksha groups in 3 states in India: Bihar, West Bengal, and Orissa. He was just simply following Lord Nityananda's instruction to start this small group or small cell in the form of Bhakti-vriksha more than 500 years ago, as instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapadaka Maharaj, who's a congregation preaching minister also. One time he told me, don't expect everybody to come to temple. You should take temple to their houses. And he said, because he said everybody is staying 20 kilometers. You expect 20 kilometers every Sunday he come to the temple? No.
This way we have expanded greatly in different countries. China, for example, is a great example, one of the latest powerhouses of Krishna consciousness, and we have several testimonies of these preachers and devotees who have been touched by the influence of this program. One of them said, this Bhakti-vriksha program is not only practical and efficient to apply in our daily life, but also helpful to others' spiritual growth. It's not only limited to learn and share knowledge, but also to give care to others. Another one says, Bhakti-vriksha shows greatest strength with its systematical, reproductive, flexible and practical characteristics. Yet another one explains, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that the Sankirtan movement will flourish everywhere in the world. And one day I believe this will be possible also in China. I am very motivated to be a qualified instrument and a servant of this Bhakti-vriksha group. Another testimony of the Chinese devotees. One becomes motivated to grow and becomes very interested in learning more and more. This enables members to be more dependent on building a strong teamwork and entered into the loving atmosphere in the association of devotees. Every time we finish a program, the devotees hate to leave the association of those devotees.
We started 2 outreach programs in different parts of Bangalore. The concept is that we have about 4 or 5 week programs, and from that we induct these members into Bhakti-vriksha.
Bhakti-vriksha is providing a platform for reaching out to many devotees. It creates a platform for the engagement of the devotees, creates a platform for bringing in new devotees and also reaching out to many people.
Bhakti-vriksha is becoming so powerful day by day. We are seeing how congregations are enjoying this. Bhakti-vriksha is the future for the entire ISKCON society.
So in this way we see that many devotees have benefited from this program. And we have one of our great leaders in ISKCON, Bhakticharu Swami, who expresses the importance of Bhakti-vriksha in the following words. He says, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has predicted that Krishna consciousness will spread in every town and village of the world. And to fulfill that prophecy, he sent Srila Prabhupada. By his tireless efforts, today Krishna consciousness has actually spread around the entire world. Now we should see how can we continue with this preaching more systematically and in an organized way. And therefore, Srila Jayapadaka Swami has designed this Bhakti-vriksha program. This program helps devotees to progress in spiritual life systematically in a united and disciplined manner. Bhakti-vrikshas are now recognized and accepted everywhere in the world. Thousands of people are getting the unique opportunity to progress in Krishna consciousness through this program. I am very much thankful to all of you who are engaged in preaching Bhakti-vriksha and thus helping ISKCON to be more and more successful. I express my heartfelt gratitude, best wishes, and many thanks to the initiators and organizers of this Bhakti-vriksha program. I am thankful to those who are tirelessly working for the spiritual progress of others. Please come forward. Together let us, through ISKCON preaching, spread Krishna consciousness and make the entire world most auspicious. Let us give the opportunity to people of the world to have a most blissful way of life. And at the end, giving them the opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead.
My perspective from a Bhakti-vriksha family point of view, what comes to mind is all the love and care and attention which I am getting. Even though my parents are all the time into Bhakti-vriksha and are preaching to so many people, cultivating them, the whole system is in such a way that I never experience any lack of love or care. So there's constantly devotees surrounding me, and then I watched people grow up from when they were new bhaktas to become leaders and then to become yatra leaders. So the whole growth is such a nice and wonderful experience to me that from the time I'm young, I've been watching this. So it has been an inspiration to me, and it has become my commitment so that I can also start preaching and preach to all the youth and try to help them experience the same love and care which I had experienced.
And as we can see, that this is the importance of celebrating this essential way of preaching Bhakti-vriksha after 20 years of success in helping ISKCON to become more and more stronger and facilitate Srila Prabhupada's mission.
Because through the Bhakti-vriksha program, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy and Srila Prabhupada's message is reaching out to large numbers of people. With the large numbers of small groups like this, there is personal attention given to every devotee, there is personalized care and training, and plus all these groups together grow very rapidly. It's definitely a very, very important step forward. It's authorized. It was started by none other than Srila Bhakti-vinod Thakur, and I would commend all the devotees involved in the Bhakti-vriksha program, and I would pray to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada that this program may grow from strength to strength, and that the devotees who are engaged in these activities may also be suitably empowered. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.